So I knew that I made my mom proud kind of after the first KDA moment, because she found out about that just through normal news channels. And obviously she's not a gamer. She found out like through USA Today or something. And then suddenly my job seemed real. I could be like, I worked on that. You know how moms are. I can be skeptical of if you're not a doctor, lawyer type of career. But that was legitimacy.
Listen, the first offer letter I had, and I think I had the offer letter in my hands, and she had emails out. I was getting phone calls. She was very, very proud. Mom is never like not coming with the enthusiasm, which I really appreciate.
She wanted to see me go back into entertainment because that is where, my passion comes from. So when I got the job here at Riot, she was very excited because it just felt like it was a true matching of where my dreams were and where I was spending my time.
I think the first time I made my mama proud was actually graduating from college. For me personally, is when I started paying back my mama can I borrows, my IOUs, because that starts racking up. So, when I was in a position to pay her back, I knew she was probably proud of that too. When
I paid off my student loan, I started to send my mom like a big check every month. I think my mom's super proud of me, but that was a moment when I was proud of myself. It's like, wow, I finally crossed over where now I can support this person who has given me really more than she had.
She thought I made it when I got a job at Facebook. And then I got this role at Riot, and she didn't know a lot about Riot, and I explained it to her, but in her head, it was like, you're still progressing. And that made her so, so proud.
It was graduating high school. My sister was pregnant when she was 17, so she had to drop out. My brother was incarcerated when he was 12, so he had to drop out. And so I remember walking across the stage of high school and my mom cried. The second time I made my mama proud was when she got to come to my college graduation. And so I think I hope that I still make my mama proud.
It was a very hard sell to tell my parents that I was leaving the military, I was leaving my medical degree behind, and I was going to fly across the country from Georgia to Los Angeles to work on video games. When I was able to show the first champion I worked on, and the fans that were cosplaying it with signs and cheering at like a big stadium, my parents were like, this is actually amazing. We had no idea this world existed.
I would say pretty much when I was able to go into a corporate job, period, like into a field where I had a sitting job, I guess, or an in-office job.
I always knew I wanted to work in games for a very long time. And so when I finally did, I think my mom was really happy, more so because I was finally doing something that I was really passionate about and what I really love.
Parents, they want you to be somewhere where you're happy. And it actually came when I got to Riot. I think that's the moment I hope every parent wants for their child, is when they're just happy to be where they are and have an enthusiasm for what they're doing.
So I'm one of the co-leads of Riot Noir. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. So one of the things about Riot that has surprised me the most are the sheer number of Black people that work here. It's been, this is the most Black people I've worked with anywhere, ever, any place, ever.
My first month, I had to go out to LA for a meeting. This was also when Black Panther came out. And that day, it was like, hey, let's all meet up for lunch. And I come and I sit down and I was like, I'm sitting with all the Black employees at work. And I literally text my sisters who also have worked in corporate America their whole careers. And it's like, I am sitting with 50 Black people, y'all, at work, at lunch. And it's it was so funny to me, but it was one of the best things to me.
I've never seen so many Black people that work for a company and be in the positions that we are.
This is the most Black people I've ever worked with in games.
Riot Noir has just been able to thrive and do what they do, and that they have leadership support to do that. It's one of the awesome things to me about Riot.
Being able to have that group where I can jump into and express how I'm feeling and get support from people who have gone through and lived through the same experience that I have in this industry is really a special thing.
One thing I love about Riot is that we are not uncomfortable having uncomfortable conversations. Whew.
oh yeah, that was not a thing in the military. So it's so nice that I can challenge a leader and be like, hey, I don't think you meant this, because that's crazy. That's insane. That's rude. and they're like, yeah, of course I didn't mean it that way. I apologize it came off that way. And I'm like, oh, feels good. Feels good in the heart.
And, I can be vocal, as I said, I can advocate for diversity. I can do all these things in this space and, and it's like, I'm supported.
And I think that just continues to lean into our value of player experience first. Like, obviously, we want our players' experience to be first, but I think Riot leadership makes sure that employees' experience comes first as well.
Other folks, when I talk about gaming, they do understand the industry, even though they haven't worked on it, but they will, the folks who are familiar, they'll talk about the lack of diversity in gaming. So that goes right into my wheelhouse of talking about what we're doing around that and really kind of agreeing, but also talking about the challenges and the opportunities I think the gaming industry can provide.
I grew up in the New York City housing projects, and so I thought I had to get a doctor, lawyer type job. If there's any advice that I could give to young people coming up from disadvantaged backgrounds and African-American people, don't feel like you have to have a traditional quote unquote safe career. Gaming's been great for me. It's been really stable. It's been really fun. And I didn't have to be a stockbroker. So
step outside of your comfort zone. This space that I'm in was not something that was generally offered growing up. So, it was always around, but it was something that I needed to seek out.
The gaming industry isn't just design. It's not just making a champion. It's not just making art. There are hundreds of jobs. And so if you are passionate about something, seek it out.
To take your time and really understand what it is that you want to do.
Don't think just because you're not an engineer that you can't come into the gaming industry. There's a whole ecosystem around gaming, and everybody's here.
Be very patient and give yourself grace. And sometimes not all setbacks are terrible. Sometimes they can be a great thing.
You can continue to push, and it sucks. And some days you just got to throw in the towel and be like, all right, I'm going to fold. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll try again. But that's the important part. You never fail unless you stop trying. Just don't give up.
Someone opened the door for me, and just know that, no matter how many no's you get, there's going to be that one yes that's going to give you the leg up that you need and to be a part of the space. So yeah.
I knew that I was capable and that I could do it. I just had to get over the fear of wondering if I was good enough. So I would just, tell my younger self, you're good enough.
Trust that you belong there. If you get the interview, trust that you're capable, and that's why you got the interview.
You find the authentic answer to who you are, what you do, and where you want to go, and people will really resonate with that.
Stick with it. You know what I mean? Just because you don't see a familiar face around you to the left or to the right, you don't see any women at all when I was going through it. It's just stick to it. Be passionate about what you want. Don't doubt yourself.
So yeah, and that's why representation matters, right? You want to make sure that you are able to diversify your workforce, because outside of diversity of who we are, it brings diversity of thought, and we're building something that goes out to the masses. So we need that diversity of thought in our games so that people feel included, people see themselves in our games. And I have a son, and I want him to be able to grow up and see video game characters and superheroes that look like him, that have brown skin and curly hair, that he can identify with, because it tells him that he can be anything he wants to be in this world.
I love the energy that Rioters have, and the passion to make Riot a great place. And so I do think it's a heavy kind of responsibility for leaders, but it's one that I think, we want to take on, because we also want that. So I just like the heart of this place.
It's been a great ride, and I just, hopefully I'm just glad to see what, is going to be happening for, Riot Noir in the future.
And I'm looking forward to so much this year. The rest of Black History Month, there's so much happening. I really like this concept that actually the Riot Noir membership picked out around Black excellence. And so many times the stories in the news media about African Americans focus on our troubles. And obviously we have struggles, but more than that, we have strength, and we have pride, and we have accomplishments. And so I'm really looking forward to Black History Month because we focus on that and the contribution of African Americans in gaming and entertainment.
I love the theme of Black excellence because I do think it's not only a reminder, but a mantra that, you know, we will continue to hold, because I think it exists. And I think to celebrate that, not just in February, but every month, is something that I hope we continue to weave through and continue to do, because it's a reminder to ourselves. You know, anytime you're part of a group that is underrepresented, it is a reminder to ourselves that we are capable, we are astonishing, we are badasses, and we, you know, are here. And so I love this theme. I want us to always talk about it because there's so much excellence that we bring, and I love that we're celebrating it.